All right guys, today I'm making a brand new cleaning system that also filters out the IPA or denatured alcohol or whatever you're using, so you never have to buy any again, in theory. Let's go. So I first saw this system set up from Eric Strebel, who used it with his Form wash machine. He has a Form 3 or something, lucky dude. And I don't have that, so I had to kind of make my own system, and it is combination filtration and cleaning, which I think is pretty awesome. So here's the basic components we're going to be using. We're going to be using a fuel pump from Vevor, fuel rated pump, which is important. You don't want to use just any old pump. You want it to be fuel rated for safety and durability. Link to everything below, of course, because I'm a good affiliate revenue YouTuber. Then we're going to have FEP tubing. Now this is something Eric discovered during his original build, is if you use like silicone or PVC tubing, it might filter out the UV rays. So we get FEP tubing. I got mine from McMaster Car. You might be able to find yours from someplace else. Then you just need some UV string lights. Again, pretty cheap, pretty available. Then I think the key component of the system are these filtration vessels, I guess. They're kind of like water filters, but don't use the clear acrylic ones. They'll break down with continued usage with either IPA or denatured alcohol. So make sure you get the ones in my link. Then I got some 1 micron filters and some 1/2 micron filters. The 1 micron filters I got off Amazon. 1/2 micron filters I got off of eBay. I couldn't find them anywhere else. Then we come out into some silicone tubing, right back into our chamber. Pretty straightforward setup. So this is the 3rd iteration of my system. The components I just outlined all stay the same. What I keep changing is the actual vessel that holds all of the IPA. When I first started, I had a 5-gallon bucket and holes in the lid to the input and the outflow and the inflow, I guess. That system worked fine for filtration. It was no problems at all. But what I noticed is when I turned it on, you get a lot of flow from this pump. And it kind of hit me as like, well, I can just use this for cleaning as well as filtration and have just an all-in-one system. But with the bucket lid, it was a real pain in the rear to kind of take it off, put it back on, et cetera, et cetera. It needed to be kind of sealed because you don't want IPA or denatured alcohol evaporating, causing much fumes in your workshop. It's a real hot mess. So I went to Walmart and got this Sterilite container with a gasket, but the connectors I had available to me were not through bulkhead connectors, so it started leaking pretty quickly. And no matter how much silicone I jammed up in there, it wouldn't stop leaking. So I learned a lot there. One is that I need to basically be using 90-degree connectors to force the IPA down into the container instead of shooting it straight across, causing leaks. The suction, the intake, I should have pointing down as well, so even if the fluid starts getting low, I'm still getting fluid through the system. Super important. So let's go to my 3rd and final build, which hopefully will solve all those problems. Let's go. All right, to make the actual wash chamber, I went to Walmart and picked up this 27-quart Sterilite. The one that I had in the 2nd build, which I'll show you, is the preferred one because it has a gasket on the lid. This one doesn't have a gasket, but when I went back to Walmart, they didn't have one. So this should work fine. Need a drill, of course. I have a 3/4 inch paddle tail, drill bits. Then I have these elbow barb fittings that are through bulkhead. Those are pretty important that they're through bulkhead. That's where I messed up on my 2nd build, is I didn't get the through bulkhead ones and they leaked all over the place. Hose clamps, of course you always need hose clamps, and Teflon tape. So I just want to kind of guesstimate where I want these holes to be. I think I want them on opposite ends. That's where I have my current build, and that seems to work pretty well. So I'm going to stick with that for this build. And I don't think the position, like centered or anything, is too terribly important. I want them higher up because even though I got the through bulkhead connectors, I really don't want this sitting in denatured alcohol / IPA for a long time. Other side. Whoops. Now see, that's what I was scared of. I made a giant hole over here. I I think I should be able to patch that up, hopefully. But again, another good reason why you don't want to be below the fluid line, so to speak, which is going to be down around here somewhere. On the bottom is if you make a giant mistake like that, it's a little bit easier to fix because you don't necessarily have to make it completely watertight. I think it's pretty close to covering. I'm actually on this side, I'm going to use a little silicone to kind of fill in the gaps. All right, Teflon tape goes on, slide washer on, this through there. Pop just a touch of silicone on there, just to make sure I get a nice, good seal. This washer goes on, and screw the nut down, and we are good to go. All right, so I'm gonna take that piece that popped out, kind of broke out, melt it around the edge here with my torch. I got MAP gas, which is way overkill, so hopefully it doesn't get too hot. But I'm really just looking to build up some structure so that washer has something to hold on to. Ooh, like I said, probably overkill. Let me get that over here like that. All right. See how that works. What I can do is kind of jam that up in there. That nut washer on top, and let's see how this goes down. Not good. Got a giant hole over there. All right, now you don't want to have a hole in this because your IPA or denatured alcohol, in my case, is going to evaporate out of there and you get tons of fumes everywhere. So let me see what else I got. And honestly, hot glue would probably work here. I'm just, I found some other plastic to That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, all right. We should just silicone. MAP gas is the wrong choice. 100% wrong. So let's pop some silicone around. This thing is just absolutely horrific. But hey, should be sealed. So a quick note here, why I went with 90-degree connectors on the inside here is this pump actually puts out a pretty good amount of pressure. And so when I did the second setup with a similar bin and I had the connections going out this way, it was just shooting all the way across to the other side and splashing up and, you know, kind of leaking out of the lid here. So I want to direct all that force down, and it also makes pulling the fluid out on the intake side easier. We're going to cut a piece of hose and get it down there. So let's do that real quick. All right, got my silicone tube here. I got a couple of pieces that were from the second build, and we're just gonna make sure, I don't know, this one will be long enough here. Pro tip, wait till that silicone dries. So that's on, put that back in place, and we'll slide a hose clamp up there just to be doubly sure. All right, for this side, this is going to be the intake, and I want this hose to be as close to the bottom as possible. We're just going to pop that on. Probably would have been easier to do this before I put it on. All right, so we're just gonna push this down. See where I want to be, about right there. Hopefully I have some red glitter on there. Grab some scissors. Cut that off. One more hose clamp and we will be set. All right, so there we go. Just gotta wait for the silicone to dry and then we'll hook it up and see how she goes. So now that I got that built, I'm gonna try to find a final mounting place for it and get this all set up and running. All right guys, I have to disassemble my current leaking setup, rearrange a few things, and I think I'm gonna try to mount it over there to that wall and get the new one going to see if it works. All right, there's my janky setup right now. I have a bracket coming for the filters. They'll go right there. I'm gonna fill it up, put some denatured alcohol in it, and send it. Wish me luck, bro. Don't die. All right, here we go, bro. All right, so I'm getting a little kink here, but this will be mounted up here. And we'll flatten that out a little bit better. I feel like I'm getting some other issues someplace. But I got no leaks, so that's good. Let's see how much actual pressure I'm getting in here. This is a nice gentle flow. Not terrible, but not like super crazy. All right, let's let it run for a while because I put some dirty IPA or dirty denatured alcohol in there. Make sure we're all set. All right, let's throw our little lure in there. This little guy. Give it a couple of minutes. See how it goes. This lure has a cavity in it, so there's a lot of isopropyl alcohol in there. But let's pop the supports. This thing is a heck of a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. But let's hit it with a heat gun real quick. So it's not sticky. So I'm going to call that pretty darn clean. You could probably go in there and give it a little brush and be better, but I think it's good to go, bro. I'm going to call that a win. All right, guys, I'm going to call that a win, like a partial win, maybe like second place. I definitely got some cleanup to do over there. I'm not super comfortable with electricity being that close to denatured alcohol, so I need to get all of that moved over. And if you guys have any ideas why I'm getting so much air in the outflow line out of the pump, I would greatly appreciate that because it seems like something is not flowing right with the pump. Hey guys, here's a link to Eric's video up here. You can go check out his build. It's certainly much cleaner than mine. And take care. Tight lines.